When you look under your radiator cap or into your coolant system, does it look like this or this? If you haven't looked recently, you should check yours, because a lot of people don't realize how bad a dirty coolant system is for their car. And a lot of people think flushing it is complicated and hard to do, so they just don't do it. But today I'm gonna show you just how easy and cheap it can be to do it yourself. Today I've got this truck with a really cruddy, nasty, rusty, gross coolant system, but stick around because we're gonna get it looking just like new. First thing that we want to do is drain all the old coolant out. And just a little trick, you can get it to drain faster if you remove that radiator cap or your expansion tank cap while you're doing it. And obviously, don't ever take your radiator cap off when it's hot. It's good to have a nice big drain pan because a lot of times these radiators don't drain in a nice clean stream. They're bouncing off stuff and you get lots of drips. So bigger's better. Okay, so on this truck, the drain for the radiator is on this bottom corner. And you can see it's got a red plastic cap with a fitting for a flathead screwdriver. So with the location of this drain, you actually remove the plug and then it comes out of this little nipple, which is gonna splatter right on the main frame and get everywhere. So I've got this little piece of hose I'm just gonna stick on it. Not every car is gonna have this style, but I'm just gonna try to minimize the splashing and run this out towards my pan. So now that the radiator is empty, I'm just gonna turn the car on for a minute and let the water pump run and see if I can get anything else out. Oh, nasty. That's how you want your coffee to look, not your coolant. So at this point, we're going to close that petcock at the bottom of the radiator up, and then we can refill the system with water. Now, a lot of the flushing products will have you add the flush right now, but I really like to do a round of just water, run the car for a little while, and then drain again. And that's just gonna get any remaining loose stuff so that when I do my step with the flush product, it's most effective. Now I know filling coolant systems with hose water is gonna be a very contentious subject for many of you, but we're filling this up and we're draining it. If you have distilled water and you wanna use it, awesome. But it's all gonna end up coming out in the end. So just to be sure that the coolant system is totally full of water, I'm gonna start the car up, allow the water pump to draw water into the engine, and then I'll top off at the radiator. Now I'm just gonna let it warm up for 10 or 15 minutes. Now it's important you just keep an eye on your temperature gauge during this 10 or 15 minutes, because if any gunk in there jammed up your thermostat, you could run into overheating issues. All right, now that the truck is up to temperature, I've turned it off and it's nice and hot, so we're gonna wait for it to cool down before we can drain the system again. While we're waiting, I'm gonna actually remove and clean this overflow tank. Now, obviously this is only possible if you have the radiator cap on your radiator and an overflow bottle that is not under pressure. If you have an expansion tank on your system, which means that this plastic bottle has a pressurized cap on it, then obviously you do not want to do this while you're waiting for it to cool down. I got the one car in America where you have to remove the freaking air filter to remove the reservoir bottle. Chocolate mocha. So the reason it's so important to clean your coolant system is because when you have sediment and particles and crap like this running through your engine, it decreases the effectiveness of your cooling. So it makes it way less efficient and you run the risk of it overheating more easily. Also, it kind of looks like at some point someone might have used water in this system instead of coolant. And you never want to use water in your coolant system because that will encourage rust. You can also put some abrasive stuff inside and shake it up. So sand, cat litter, I'm just gonna use a little rice and some dish soap. Hopefully this hot water will help break up some of those sticky sediment pockets. And we're gonna get those hard to reach corners cleaned up. Okay, now that the truck is cooled down, we are going to drain the system again. Starting the car up again, get that water pump moving, rinse, repeat. All right, well, this doesn't look that much cleaner than the first round. So I think what we're gonna do is I'm gonna do a whole nother round of just water, see if I can get it looking a little bit clearer before we start putting the product in. All right, this thing was really dirty. I did 4 water flushes before it started coming out a lighter color where I'm ready to put in the cleaning product. So now it's time to do one more fill, but with this time I'm going to use this radiator flush product. I'm using this one by Blue Devil, but they're not sponsoring us, so you can use whatever you want. They're all basically the same. They offer detergents that sort of clean out all of the lines and the radiator in your coolant system. Just make sure to follow the instructions on the bottle. But before you do, make sure you subscribe to Budget Mechanic so you don't miss out on any upcoming content. We're just gonna put in the product first and then top it off with water. And we're gonna run this for, again, 10-15 minutes. I might even take it on a drive, get that water pump really spinning. Okay, before I start the car up for my final top off, I'm just gonna put the reservoir back in, along with my air filter. Okay, now that I've drained all of the old water and detergent out, it's time to refill with coolant. I'm using a 50-50 mix so I don't have to mess around with water and concentrate. This truck takes about 2 gallons of coolant. You just want to check what the capacity of your cooling system is, and they can usually tell you that at the store you buy the coolant. So while I'm waiting for this to burp out all the bubbles, I'm gonna fill up my reservoir. So once you've refilled your vehicle with fresh coolant, you wanna run it for a little while, get it up to operating temperature, then shut it down and let it cool, and check that radiator if you need to top it off. So as you can see, we went from super dirty, nasty, got lighter and lighter. Then we went to the flush detergent product, which got a lot more out than the water was able to, which is pretty cool. And then finally, we put in fresh coolant. Now this truck took longer because it was so bad. And that just goes to show what happens when you use water in your system instead of coolant, or you wait too long to exchange your coolant. And most coolant lasts about 5 years. Just as a reminder, old coolant is a hazardous material, so you'll want to dispose of it properly. Guys, if you liked watching a video of me cleaning sludge out of a radiator, then you're definitely gonna wanna check out this video we made on something else that gets super nasty, which is cabin filters. When they get really dirty, your AC system doesn't work as well, so you're gonna wanna check it out.